Hey, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. So I have a couple rules here at Shofar Mountain when visitors come and when I have classes and things like that. And some of them are, and I've talked about this before, people are not allowed to bring fully automatic weapons here. We don't have any on the property. Whether they're legal or not, where you are here, whatever, I just don't allow them. I don't allow tannerite here. I know it's legal. I don't allow it. And I don't allow suppressors, silencers. Whether they're legally owned or not, I don't allow them. I don't allow drugs, illegal drugs, or medical marijuana. And I don't even think medical marijuana is legal in our state, but I haven't even looked into it. I don't allow it. We don't let people talk about any of those things that I just talked about. We don't have conversations on those things. We don't let people talk about doing bad things to other people or government officials. And the Shofarians don't. It's always visitors, and if they try to bring it up, they get shut down. And if they bring it up again, I'm a little bit rude to them, and they're never allowed to come back. And so those are some of the rules we have here. Why? Lots of reasons, but the number one reason is liability. I just spent, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes on the internet, on my phone, reading about this guy named something Winters. And he was a member, probably the leader from what I read, of a prepper group called the River Otter Preppers in Florida around 2014. This was a guy who was 55 at the time, and by all accounts, and there's a lot of accounts, and the judge at his sentencing, so you know where we're going, even admitted that he seemed like a generally good guy. He did things like, he had a huge American flag hanging up in his yard, like, you know, a garrison flag on a big pole. And he gave away food. He had like a fruit stand, vegetable stand, farmer's market kind of stand. And he put food out that he grew for other people, and he said, hey, just leave an offering, you know, if you can pay, and if you can't pay, take what you want. So, you know, he fed poor people. And he had this group called River Otter Preppers, and they, from just a couple videos that I saw, they were doing some things right. They were burying, you know, those big blue cans with the twist-on lids? They look like they hold about 50 gallons. I think olive oil or olives comes in them or something. They were burying those. Now, burying things like that is a lot easier in Florida than it is in the Ozarks. But they were burying those things, and they were just chock full of food for his group and for, you know, what they saw coming, like contingency stores. And he got a group of people together and, you know, created a prepper group to be ready for end times. What he did wrong, what he was convicted of, what he did wrong was he ran his mouth, number one, and he was probably, that word's important, probably responsible for seeing that felons, you know, people convicted of felonies were able to obtain firearms. And they did that by people doing straw man purchases, where somebody would go fill out the paperwork, buy a firearm, and then give it, you know, straw man purchase. They'd buy it for somebody else who wasn't allowed to possess a firearm and wouldn't pass the background check. 4 people were tried and convicted for that. 2 for doing the paperwork, and 2 for felons in possession of a firearm. But they didn't charge him with that. What they charged him with was making destructive devices without a permit. And I guess what he was doing was making something, probably 12 gauge shotgun shell booby traps is what it looked like he was doing. And I just hear a weird noise. I guess it's a chicken. I don't even know that they found any of them, any of these destructive devices. They had an FBI informant hanging out with his group for a couple months, you know, filing reports. And I don't know, this was probably a confidential informant, which is another whole discussion for another time. But this guy, what really got him in trouble, so that's what he got convicted of. Making, possessing, selling, somewhere around there, destructive devices without a permit. Booby traps. What really got him in trouble was running his mouth. They evidently talked a lot about when the end times come, you know, we're going to kill everybody that gets in our way. And they talked specifically about targeting law enforcement and, you know, stupid little like pot grower things like hanging fish hooks up to catch them and then have them step on our booby traps. It's really kind of teenager, juvenile-ish, but people take that stuff seriously. And that's what got him super investigated. But at the end of it all, the only thing they got him on was the destructive devices. And he was sentenced to 30 months in jail with credit for time served. He was in county lockup for 6 months awaiting the trial. So that was in December of 2014. So I guess he's out now. But now he's a felon. So he can never possess a firearm legally. It just doesn't do anybody any good to, one, go around talking about stuff like that. It's ridiculous. And it is ridiculous. And two, to entertain people talking about stuff like that. And so what I'm telling you to do is be careful. I tell everybody, form groups, join groups, and all that stuff. But if you have somebody in your group talking about doing something illegal, you need to break contact with that person by either kicking that person out of the group, or if you can't do that, then you need to leave that group. It's just not worth it. And this is coming from a guy who has shot more fully automatic firearms than you can shake a stick at, and who has blown more stuff up you know, than the average American ever will dream of. And it's just, it's not that impressive. You know, I'm not like, I could go get a class 3 license permit and buy a fully automatic weapon if I wanted to. I don't want one. I can't afford to feed it, right? So, and I'm certainly not going to target law enforcement. I've been on here before. I get yelled at on YouTube for saying how I support law enforcement in general. I don't like bad cops any more than anybody else does, but most cops are pretty good people. So, be careful out there. Don't talk about stupid things. Don't get drunk and run your mouth about stuff you don't even believe. That's what this guy said. He said, oh, I was just sitting on the porch, just porch talk, just talking with the fellas. The judge took it pretty seriously. She didn't like it. And neither will your judge, your district attorney, or whatever. So don't talk like that. It's just dumb. Focus on the good things. And, you know, I'd be kind of interested to know, out of when they executed the search warrant on this guy and I guess on his little prepper group, and they found, I guess they didn't find any illegal guns, they just found food stores. And I guess they didn't even find the guns that the possessions were, the felons were supposedly in possession with, because when they were convicted, you know, I sentence you, you're guilty, I sentence you, they said, and you have to give the gun back. You have to turn the gun in. So they didn't even have the gun. So how'd they get convicted? I don't know. You know, I don't know. Just be smart. Be smart about what you're doing. Be smart about who you're hanging out with. But getting back to my point, I wonder if they got their food back and what condition it was in. Because, you know, they took it, right? When they found the food caches. Look at this survivalist, blah, blah, blah. It's not against the law to store food. They even said that, you know, the officials. Be careful who you hang out with. Watch your mouth. Don't say things you don't mean and that you could regret later. That could be misconstrued. Other than that, keep on prepping. Winter's coming. All right, I'll see you out there.